Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of, I think it's just an informal conversation with some of my friends here. I'm trying a little new setup here with a 3-mic setup, and I think this will just be an informal conversation with some of my university friends, the first university friends that I've ever met in school. So Leonard and Xin Yee, thanks so much for coming, man.
Well, thank you for having us, and hello everyone. I'm JJ's friend. I think I'm one of his first few guests that appeared on his other podcast.
Yeah.
And very happy to be on here again. And this time round, mostly like what he mentioned, sharing an informal conversation about our lives, and also updating about what has happened to us post 1 year university graduation. Yep.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Xin Yee. I'm JJ's friend. So JJ is also one of my first few friends in uni. Interestingly, we met because we came to class and then we were sitting close to each other, and then we just decided to become group mates, me, JJ, Leonard, and Chin Yong, who is not here today. So, and this is my first time on this show, so I'm excited and also a bit nervous. So
a little context of, I think the main conversation, like what we were saying just now, right? The main conversation of what we'll talk about is mainly our reflections of university, because sometimes I think like there's so many things that happened in the past 1 year, right? So for context, Leonard is currently working in Mondelez, and Xin Yee actually just started working at P&G as well. So I'm sure that they will be able to share some like interesting learning insights and reflections along the way. So maybe as a start question, what have you guys
Been up to?
Yeah, what have you guys been up to over the past year?
I think maybe I'll let Xin Yee share first.
Like, how is it like? When exactly do you get a job offer from P&G itself, and why did you choose to like start so late?
okay, so just for context, so for uni, right, I actually took a gap semester to do an internship at the Travel Intern, and that's why I had my graduation was a bit late. So I graduated in January, and like the normal graduation is in May. So Leonard, like, he graduated in May, and JJ, he graduated in May. Do you graduate in May?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I graduated 1 sem later. Before I graduated, I had actually interned at P&G at Pantene, and I passed the internship, thankfully, and I got a job offer, and I decided to start in July, which is 6 or 7 months past my graduation. And the reason for that was because I was thinking I'm gonna work for the next like 40 years of my life or whatever. So I was like, okay lah, and then why not just push like 6 months, then like I can travel or like relax or do other things, explore other hobbies during this 6 months. But unfortunately, COVID happened. So what happened during these 6 months was I was just stuck at home, and I just I just did my own stuff. Like I drew and I surfed the net a lot, but I didn't get to travel much, which is what I wanted to. But yeah, so that's what happened the past 6 months to 1 year.
And I think maybe Xin Yee missed out one thing. She started to grow plants too, like me.
Oh.
Just now we were sharing about how COVID has actually made us plant parents, because during this period, I guess there's an innate part of us to want to be close to nature, firstly, and then secondly, we want to grow something to make us feel fulfilled. And I guess being plant parents, it helped to satisfy these two areas.
What kind of plants are you guys growing?
Personally, I'm keeping succulents like Lophophoras, astrophytums. You can go Google on that. Maybe it sounds a little technical. I personally like to keep succulents because I have to keep all my plants in my room, since my parents are not very for it, keeping plants at home. So I have to keep plants that do not require very high maintenance and doesn't have a lot of soil. So keeping succulents, it's like a great alternative. You don't have to worry about watering them all the time. You can kind of ignore them, and also at the same time they look very, very aesthetic at home. I personally feel they are round and they are not thorny. They are not the cactus type of plants. Yep.
Yeah, so for me, I'm a bit different. I prefer like very leafy plants. So I have Monstera, and then I have 2 different ficus. So I was sharing with Leonard earlier about my plants, and very interesting because Leonard is like one of the first few plant parents that I encountered in real life.
Really?
Yeah. So I was just sharing with him like the plants that I have that died or is like dying, and we're just sharing how
I guess
to.
it's part of the process.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
learning how to take care of them.
How do you even get started? It was something that you just wanted to try? Like you got a seed to plant it, or like how is it like?
So for me, actually, before during the 6 months, what I had done was I did a room revamp.
Room revamp.
So previously my room didn't have a table. So I decided I need a table, I need a monitor, and then I was like, my room is still very empty. And then I was like, okay, let's get plants. So I just went online and just bought some plants. And because a lot of plant shops, right, they do like online shops now, and they provide delivery. So it's very, very convenient. Unfortunately, I don't have the patience to grow the plants from seed. so I don't do that. But yeah, that just ordering online and it comes to you within 2 days. That's what I do.
Oh, I thought usually like buy. I don't know. Like I never bought plants. I thought like you need to go to the florist, to the plant shop and buy. But you're buying online. Is it you're basing it based on the pictures? Is it and just
some places, I think most places, they don't show the actual plant that you buy because like they have just so many of them. So you just buy and then hope that you get a good plant. Yeah, there have been instances where I got bad plants. So
Pretty common.
how do you deliver it? Like wouldn't the leaves be like affected or
I think they do courier services, right? To deliver the
specialized
plants.
courier services?
Yeah.
I think like sometimes they just do like Ninja Van or whatever, but
Yeah.
they put it in a box so that it doesn't hurt the plant.
Yeah. They will wrap it so that the soil doesn't spill out, and that they make sure that they deliver the plant in the most optimal condition. Yeah, quite interesting, right? Maybe you might want to grow, but before you start growing,
I feel like my room like there's no sunlight or anything, so like I don't think it'll make like a good.
which is my room, because my room doesn't have sunlight.
So yours is like cactus, is it?
It's like
Succulents are like different from cactus, but they don't require much care as well.
yeah, but they need light, because light is how they feed themselves. So the most important thing, if you are concerned that your room doesn't have light, right, then maybe you can try buying like a grow light, and then you
Like
create your own
specialized light.
setup.
It's not like those kind of like normal light bulbs, right?
Yeah, you need to buy a full spectrum light, which means
Oh.
that they are able to emit a lot of different wavelengths and different colors, so that they are able to feed on the light. You know, plants photosynthesize, right? If you don't give them food, naturally they will die. So if you were to consider buying a plant, I would say that firstly, you really need to do some homework, right? If not, you would be a plant murderer from the start. And then after that, you start to realize that, hey, actually I could have avoided killing the plants. But as what you may have known since like primary school science, they need light, they need water, and then the soil, the media is very important. So just do some basic research first before you invest.
Can I ask why plants like when I was young, right? You usually can keep like fighting fish, or why not fishes instead, or like it's no low maintenance instead. I'm just curious why the decision of plants.
I think like fishes, right?
Fighting fish is very nice also, right?
Yeah,
Very beautiful, right?
but you have to keep like to keep an aquarium well. You need all the different functions and all the different parts of an aquarium. You need like the filter to make sure like the water is constantly running so that there's no algae forming, and I feel like that's just much more work than having plants. Yeah, so I think plants is like quite low maintenance. Just need to, especially succulents for Leonard, it's like not much stuff need to be done.
Does it like share? Do you need to sweep? Is it I have no idea. Is it like a big plant, a small plant, or like
Maybe you can insert photo here.
like how big is it? Like
Okay, mine is so I have big plants and I have small plants. Okay, medium-sized plants and I have small plants as well. My medium-sized one is, I guess, like that.
shit, that's quite big.
Yeah,
Like,
so
does it
it's like
shed? You need to sweep lah.
no.
Oh,
I don't know why you
thought
have the
it's like
idea.
Why do you
something
need to sweep?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I run in the park and got all the leaves.
Oh, I
keep sweeping.
think. I mean, that's if like your leaves die, then yeah, you will like drop.
Do you
but-
trim it?
Yeah, I have to prune it sometimes. So for example, I have mint, and mint grows super fast. So sometimes like it grows so fast that it's too heavy and it will like droop. So what I do is I just like prune it and then use it and put the main leaves in like my water since I prune it anyways. Yeah, and it's fine. Yeah.
Cool. Okay,
As compared, like in contrast with Xin Yee's, right? Like Xin Yee's plants are so huge. Mine are like just 4 centimeters, very
4?
small.
Just okay.
Yeah,
so it's
like very
super-
round, very small, and they look like desert mochis. Like my
Yeah,
friend.
I think like, cause I think most
commented.
succulents are from deserts, are
Yeah.
from like Africa. So, yeah, so it's yeah.
What other hobbies do you guys indulge yourself aside from collecting plants?
I think maybe Xin Yee mentioned drawing, right? Similarly, that's what I do too.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, how come
Yeah.
we how come like copy each other?
Really, it's true. Like you
But
can.
I think what medium do you draw on paper?
Yeah, okay. Previously, I started drawing on traditional media like paper, and then I recently started to move to digital.
Oh,
like I
okay.
use Procreate.
Yeah, oh,
iPad. Yeah.
So, is it like an iPad thing?
Yeah, it's an iPad app. Yeah, I think Pixar uses it if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
What do you guys draw?
Actually, me mostly portraits because
impressive.
very interesting to draw faces, because even though we both have 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, right? But the very interesting thing is that to draw till it shows some sort of character and uniqueness, right? That's very, very fulfilling for me. So I really like to draw portraits for myself.
I've seen your drawing on like paper. I haven't seen your digital ones yet, but the ones you draw on paper, right, is so nice.
Thank
it's
you.
like very realistic. Like I wish I can have like drawing skills like yours.
I think
When do you start, Leonard? Like how do you specifically start? Do you find someone to help you, or like, was it something that you just took a pen and just started drawing?
actually I started in secondary school. Like I like we have this choice to choose extra subject to pick, right, in secondary school.
Really?
Yeah, for me I picked
I don't remember.
Which school?
in
Which
lower
school
sec.
are you
In lower
from?
sec.
Oh, lower sec. Oh, that's
Yeah.
quite
I
long
don't
ago.
remember. I don't have that.
Yeah, so in lower sec, I had the opportunity to take an extra subject to explore, during that time before you go to the more serious O-level stuff. So I decided to take art. And you might not believe that time, right? Like a lot of people didn't think what I drew was very nice. And I was kind of...
Do you have like historical? Can send us a few samples?
I
I'm
don't
sure you have
think I
improved a
can't
lot
remember
since
though.
then.
Oh yeah, maybe I have on my Facebook. Maybe I can show it to you guys. So, the key thing about drawing is that I'm so happy that it didn't discourage me, so that I was able to really see how I've improved across time. And it really takes time. You don't just improve immediately within like few months to a year. It takes time to really start to build up. And moreover, we have our full-time stuff, right? Like studying and working. So use whatever leisure time to go and practice drawing, and then slowly you see improvement. So I guess from secondary school till now, I really see a vast improvement in drawing.
You're only
And
mainly interested in portraits, lah.
not just portraits, like I also draw like fruits, or maybe like my dog. I'm very interested to explore replicating texture on paper.
Wow, that's so impressive.
Yeah.
Like, do you go into hardcore research? Like, do you do a lot of YouTubing, Googling?
Yeah,
or
a lot of
just-
YouTubing, because all of it are self-taught. So you have to Google, and then you go to like maybe on Instagram I follow a lot of people, then they will post on the step-by-step how they draw, and then they will offer some tips. And then on Patreon also, a very popular site for artists to learn from each other.
Is there any particular creators that you follow?
Creators, there's this artist, Sylvie Madel. She's really, really awesome. She draws so realistically, and it makes you like
Feel
feel,
like shit.
that not feel lousy or whatsoever, but it kind of motivate me that
Okay, in a positive manner.
yeah, it kind of motivate me, because it made me realize that, hey, if I actually put in that amount of patience and the amount of time, because sometimes when you draw, you kind of like quickly want to get to the end and see how it looks like, right?
Yeah.
But I guess the thing that is really enjoyable about drawing is really the journey, like really taking time to complete part by part, and then finally you'll be rewarded by the overall whole of the completed drawing. So I just keep telling myself that as much as I really want to get there quickly, drawing teaches you patience. So
Wow.
enjoy the step-by-step part.
So is it right to say that you enjoy drawing realism the most, or like?
Do you paint abstract stuff?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
one do you
actually,
prefer?
if like what you mentioned earlier, if I were to pick, right, I realized that I kind of really like realism a lot because it challenges me to really replicate what I see and in my own way also.
Yeah, I think like realism is really hard to achieve because to have to like produce something 3D onto something 2D
Correct, 2D,
is
correct.
just
Yeah.
wow, it's
It
very
just
impressive.
takes a lot of time and yeah.
Xin Yee, what do you paint? Or what do you draw?
Okay, I'm not so zai like Leonard. So I had drawing lessons in the past.
Drawing lessons?
Yeah, like just like forces me to practice on a
When
weekly
was this?
basis.
Was it like secondary school days, university days?
Yeah, I think it was secondary school days, like, but it was only for like a year. Yeah, and then before that, like we learn art in class, like learn about the different types of techniques, like drawing techniques and all that. But the past like CB period where I started drawing, it was like mostly for fun, cause I downloaded Procreate and I paid for it for like it was like an impulse.
Like $14.
Yeah, it was an
something.
impulse.
It's a one-time buy. It's a month.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
one
it's a
time
one-time
buy.
buy.
It was an impulse decision. Not sure why I did it. But then I was like, during the CB period, like so bored, right? Then I have this app and I have the pen and I have the iPad waiting. Then I was like, okay, just draw. So what I do is usually I just go on Pinterest. Then I see like whatever is nice. Then I'm like, maybe this inspires me to draw something. Then I'll just draw. So I'm not like Leonard where I have like a specific field that I'm interested in. It's usually what I like. Then I draw. But interestingly, I have like some friends that say that my drawings are nice.
Yeah,
So,
I think just to clarify, I'm not a pro or anything. I think like we really picked it up because we enjoy it, and the result is just a result of our passion.
It's a way of
Yeah.
like it's therapy lah, just as a side hobby into
Yeah.
like, other things that we can do lah.
In fact, right, like I have actually shared with people how my passion for drawing relates to my work. And I usually
Wow,
share with
that's a
them.
big gem,
No,
like, wow.
it's real.
How?
It's real. Like, there are 3 key areas I feel.
wow.
3 key areas, yeah. Okay.
Firstly, right, like drawing, it forces you to really look things on a micro and macro level. For example, when I draw portraits, right, I have to always make sure that after I draw an eye, I need to zoom out and then look at the overall portrait. And then similarly at work, it's very important to zoom in and zoom out. If you are always focused on like the execution or the very little stuff that you are doing, right, you fail to realize that there's a wider, bigger purpose. I always tell myself to zoom out and then connect with whatever you're doing to the overall bigger company strategy, the overall bigger company purpose. So in a way that relates in that, right, it forces you to have that habit of zooming in and zooming out to take on a micro and macro lens, just like what drawing has taught me. And then secondly would be drawing forces me to take on a step-by-step process. When you draw portraits, you cannot just, I decide to draw one eye and then next I will just draw the mouth and then draw the hair.
What's the structure to it? Is there like you paint the eyes first, you paint the nose first, you paint the mouth first, and you paint the face? Or like, is there a structure to painting portraits?
There is no exact sequence. Like some people prefer to draw the overall face first, then they start drawing the next feature. But the similarity would be no matter what, they will still take on a step-by-step. There's a logical step-by-step approach in drawing. So similarly at work, it's very methodological. You cannot skip steps, right? When you do your work, for example, I do a lot of data analysis, and before I complete like the data analysis, I need to prepare a lot of the raw data. So I need to do step by step. For example, when I extract the raw data on Excel, I have to process it first, right? And then after that, I have to class it to the way I would want to analyze it. And then finally, I go through the different steps required for me to analyze my data. So I feel like similarly with drawing, it forces me to take on a step-by-step approach. And then finally, the last part would be, it forces me to pay attention to details and be very meticulous, like drawing it to really create like character and to really make your portrait unique, right, you need to thoroughly understand what are some elements and some features that make that drawing unique and make that person or character special, unique, you know. That's why drawing forces you to be very attentive to details and be very meticulous. And similarly at work, you need to have that quality also. Like what I mentioned earlier, when you analyze data, you have to be very sensitive, right, to the different anomalies that you see in data. So yeah, these are just the 3 points that I feel that drawing has helped me and is very relatable to work.
Which one came
right?
first? Which one came first? Like you're halfway working through in your Mondelez and you realize that these are principles you can take, or it's like which one do you realize first? Like you could like pair seemingly unrelated things together.
I wouldn't say that they are unsimilar though. I would say
they're
actually
very not similar. Like
actually
very
a lot
random
of things that you do, right, it builds your character and it builds habits for you. As much as you might think that they are unrelated, a lot of things are pretty related, you know.
Do you have an example?
Like for example, I think I read this book called Super Thinking, and they are sharing with you a lot of different mental models. Maybe one example I share with you is like, you know, in business we keep talking about sunk costs or opportunity costs, right? So these are concepts that are not related only for business. You know, like for example, like when you make choices after you graduate, there are opportunity costs and there are sunk costs also, right? So these are actually concepts that are very transferable to a lot of different dimensions, different domains of your life. So this is just one example that I can share with you. So have an open mind and, you know, start to think deeper how the different
try many different kind of things and it will still be helpful in whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and also see like how your passions, your hobbies, or the things that you do day to day relates to other areas in your life. You know, for example, like that attentive to details step by step, it can also apply to fitness. You know, like if you want to start losing weight, you also need a step-by-step plan and you need to be attentive to the calories that you eat, right? Yeah, so basically what I'm trying to tell you is that I have a habit myself that I will just try to link whatever I do to other areas of.
So Xin, you are going mountain climbing, right, after this?
Rock climbing.
Awesome. What lessons have you learned from rock climbing in that sense? Or why do you even why would you rock climb?
I mean, it's fun. It's So for those who don't know, I rock climb around 3 years already. Yeah, and I do it because it's fun. So every
when you say it's fun, right? There are like different elements of fun, like the social aspects of fun, the physical fitness of being fun, the thrill of climbing on a rock. I don't know, like what are the kind of different elements that makes it fun?
Okay, so speaking of like elements, so firstly there's the social part, and then there is also the thinking part.
Thinking?
Yeah, so actually it's quite interesting. So when you what I like to do is I like to boulder, which is a type of rock climbing. So bouldering is like the wall is basically maybe at most 2 meters, 2.5 meters high, and then there's no there's no harness or anything. So if you fall on a mat. Okay. Yeah, so why it's fun on a thinking basis is because every single problem is different. So every single route is considered a problem, and then to solve that problem, you need to reach to the last tile, and then you have to like once you're on the last tile with both hands, and then you consider like you solve that problem, so it's done. So it's interesting because different routes have different techniques and different ways to reach the solution of the problem. So there are many ways which you can reach that solution. And for different people, they might use different solutions to solve that problem. So for example, I'm considered quite short, so maybe I need to do a certain route differently from like taller people, or and usually females also tend to have different methods to reach that solution, because females maybe they are weaker or not as strong as the males.
So you're more nimble, flexible.
Yeah, so more flexible.
Right?
So flexibility also helps. Or like more balancy, like you can reach the last tile like in a more balancy way as compared to like the guys. So things like that. So that's why it's very a like thinking basis, it's fun because there are many ways to
Keeps your mind stimulated.
Yeah, that's right. And also like so to conserve energy, what you usually do is before you jump on the route and try to like reach the end, you want to like look at it and think like how you want to solve it. Like it could be A, it could be B, it could be C, and then you try it, like you try A and like you realize, oh, it doesn't work, maybe because like my hip is too high or too low or whatever. Then you can like you try to think like, how else do I solve it, you know? So that's why it's fun on the thinking basis. On the social basis, it's rock climbing is quite a solo sport because like it's basically you against the wall, right? So if you don't
life metaphor, I think it's good.
so if you don't like reach the last tower, then you know it's like it's you have to try to solve it. You have to it's like maybe something is you're not doing something right, so you try to solve it. But socially it's fun also because when you climb, other people can give you can ask help from other people, like so like maybe like they could say like, oh, you're not doing this right or you're not doing that right, maybe you can try this or try that. So yeah, you do make quite a lot of friends because of that. So it's a very fun environment to be in, and people are generally quite supportive. Like if you
Fall.
or if you're at the very hard stage, like we call it the crux of the problem.
Wow, I like the way you describe it. It's like official term, is it? Oh, he's at the crux.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like the crux is usually the hardest part of the route. So if you're at the crux and you're like struggling to get the next towel, usually people are like, even strangers are very supportive, and they will tell you to like
hold on, you're almost there.
So they say like allez, which is French for like 加油.
Why French? Why French? That's so weird.
Because I guess it's like a
tradition?
very popular
why is the
sport.
lingo
It's a
in
very popular
French?
sport in France, I
okay.
guess. Yeah, so yeah.
It originates from there. Like, are there a lot?
No, I don't. I'm
no.
not sure actually. I'm not sure where this phrase came from. But when I just started, like people say it a lot, so I just like pick it up.
Can I ask a stupid question? Like one wall, right? Like how many problems can you work around it? Like there are so many patterns that you can just climb out, right? Like how long does it take for you to exhaust all the problems in the wall before you find a new wall? Or are there like unlimited ways to just climb that wall?
So for each wall, right, there are many routes. So and many routes. So each route is one problem, right? So there are many routes. So for one route, like you can try, I don't know, like however many ways.
You master that route to master a certain technique, is it?
Not necessarily. It's just like for example, like math. Like they give you a problem, and then you not necessarily it's like one technique. Okay. It could be like many different
techniques within that route.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually there's a lot of techniques and yeah, like maybe depending on your body physique and your skills, you can solve it with different types of technique. Or like if you're really strong, you can just like use brute strength to like
whack it.
Yeah, to send the route. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I feel Leonard want to rock climb or not?
We can try. Xin Yee can lead us. You know, after what Xin Yee shared, right? I'm just very I just had this realization that it really also links to your work, you know? Like for example, what I picked up after hearing her sharing is that rock climbing is a problem solving sport. Because at every obstacle of the way, you have to be very flexible. You have to, you know, like really try different permutations or different ways to even achieve at the same goal. Like even at work, when you're in TNG, you also start to realize that, hey, actually there are similarities, right, with rock climbing and the work that I do. And secondly, Xin Yee also mentioned that rock climbing helps her to network. There's a very good opportunity for her to network. Similarly, like you network at in her line of work, you have to manage stakeholders,
Sometimes
right?
I feel like if you do it for the sake just of networking rather than just like the holistic fun of it, it breaks the fun of it. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think that's just an additional value, right, of what you are doing while rock climbing.
Yeah.
It's not like the main purpose, right?
No, yeah. I also think one additional point that I guess you can connect to like the rest of your life is sometimes you just need to take the plunge.
Wow.
Risk-taking.
I love all this like
No, it's true.
No, yeah,
right?
yeah, like
take the plunge as in what? Just let go?
No, as in like for example, there are sometimes it's like you're not sure whether you can grab hold of the next towel. like
Uncertainty.
yeah. So what I do is like either I just come down because I'm too scared, or I just go for it, and then like the worst is I fall.
And if you fall, it's alright.
I mean, most of the time, unless you get injured.
Have you gotten injured before?
Yes, not like major injury. Usually it's like finger injury. They have to like yeah.
Because the height is not that high for
But,
bouldering.
yeah,
right?
I mean, but then
Yeah.
like, there are like quite bad injuries also. Like people do break arms or like bones.
Have you seen like it happen in front of you before?
I've seen injuries from lead climbing.
Sorry, what's lead?
Lead climbing is like basically you need a rope, and then so there are like what do you call that? So at every few meters there's a carabiner, and then you have to hook your rope onto the carabiner.
Oh, that's like super high.
Yeah, it goes.
Is it the one I see like U-Town?
Yeah, so U-Town has that.
Because I see like some people and there was like normal wall, then some people climbing all the way up. That's so scary, like.
Yeah. So that could be.
What is that called? That's called.
There's a top rope and lead. So top rope is like much easier than lead. So lead climbing is basically top rope is like the rope is already up there. It's already on the pulley system. Okay. So it's like much more secure because if you fall, like the pulley will hold you up. But for lead, the point of contact for the rope and the wall is the carabiner, which could be below you. Because every time you're climbing, when you reach a carabiner, you have to hook. Yeah, so it could be below you. So it's much more dangerous.
So your body will smash onto the wall?
No, like if you fall, right, you will drop down. So because if top rope, if you fall, the pulley holds you.
Correct. So
But
you will be away from the wall, right? I can totally imagine if you have the carabiner, right? So you are hooking on the last step that you actually climbed on, right? So if you fall, your body would have more closer contact to the wall and you will scrape yourself. Am I right?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Is it when you climb, then you hook here, go to the next spot? Hook
Yeah.
Then if you fall from the top part, you
Correct.
You fall. Wow, the impact is quite.
So it's like when you fall, right, you could fall a few meters. So that's why it's like and
You fall
so
a few meters, but you don't fall fully. All the way
that
back.
will depend on your belayer.
Oh, sorry, what's belay?
So belayer is the person at the bottom
So technical.
pulling the rope.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
So for I don't lead, so I'm not like 100% sure, like certain of lead, but the reason why I don't lead is because like I've seen like a lot of accidents because of lead climbing. Like people
do get
quite
seriously
injured. So yeah, that's why I don't lead.
Are you planning to? Like,
No, never.
Is it? So you only stay at like the wall 2.5 meters, is it?
Yeah, or like top rope, which is like the rope is already in the pulley system. Yeah. But like I know some people like they love lead and like it's the right way of climbing.
The thrill that you get.
I guess maybe. I don't get it.
Thrill and the challenge, I think. They really want something risky.
And also it's like when you climb outdoor climbing, like lead is like how you get up. Because there is no like pulley system.
The real way of climbing, right? In a way.
I mean, that's what
More-
people like. You know, like rail is like so subjective.
Okay, maybe I'll say like there are two.
I guess it's the traditional way.
Yeah.
The real way.
I would say like more. How to say more? Like preferred way, because if you imagine on a natural and on a real setting, right, you cannot have like a pulley system for you. So
what's the difference between like will you ever consider to do a rail climb, like a real
like
boulder
in a natural
climb? Like,
habitat.
yeah.
in the natural- in
How
the-
different is that? Is there
environment.
something like a place in Singapore where you can do that?
Yes, there is. It's a dairy farm, but it's like a grey area because it's like it's potentially illegal or it's not. Cause like
It's not legal.
yeah, it's not legal, but it's
people
not
go there to
illegal. You know, it's like
Okay, but do they have like a big mats below?
no, you have to like if you want to do
Bring.
like bouldering there, then you have to bring your own mats. Usually for outdoors, you have to bring your own mats.
Oh, that sounds dangerous, man.
I mean, I haven't.
Would you
I
ever
haven't-
try?
I haven't done outdoor bouldering yet, but I would love to try it.
Oh, but I think this kind of places, I'm sure overseas will have like a lot of places.
Yeah,
right? But Singapore,
yeah.
I just don't think there's a lot of
Yeah,
places.
Singapore not a lot, but like if you go out like Thailand, yeah, there's quite a few places in Thailand, and I know people like do fly to like overseas like Europe, Switzerland, France to like climb outdoors.
I think maybe next time for a start we can try very easy level bouldering first, so that we do not injure ourselves. And you won't see him making any more podcasts in the future.
But have you gotten injured before? Like, what's the most severe injury have you gotten?
I fell and landed sitting down.
Wait, was there a time where I saw in university you were in crutches?
No, I
no.
was never in crutches.
Okay.
It wasn't, it wasn't
you have
that
the impression?
serious.
No, I thought I did.
Oh, no. I was never in crutches in my entire life. But there was this one time where I fell and I landed on my ass. And I think it impacted my lower back quite a bit. So actually after that incident, I couldn't, like, where I fall, right? Like, my back would hurt a lot. Like, when I walk, it will hurt a lot.
I know, like especially when the impact is near the spinal
Yeah,
area,
so
right?
it's near like the tail.
The back tail.
So
of the
actually,
spine.
I'm not sure if like I fully recovered from that, because like since then, I have tried to whenever I reach the end of the route, I tried to climb down instead of jumping down, or like if I have to jump down because there's no suitable tiles to climb down, then I will get like my boyfriend to catch me, so that it like lowers the impact of my fall.
You do not want to aggravate the current condition that you have already, right?
Yeah. So, and apart from that like spine thing, I also get like finger injuries, like especially if I'm being like more aggressive, then like my fingers do like get some strain.
From the climb or because you were landing?
From the climb.
Okay.
But it's very fun. I hope to do it for the rest of my life.
That's great. You found like a very strong passion.
Yeah, I think like
bouldering.
it's a huge inspiration to see like especially old people when they climb.
What's
Like
the
I've
oldest?
seen like grandmas climb the top rope, the pulley system, and it's like wow, it's very
Grandmas, ah.
that is very inspirational. And I've seen like, you know, people climb like and it's just like so inspirational. Like I wish to be doing that one day, because you know, as you grow old, like your body starts to deteriorate. Yeah, so
You kind of don't really you kind of have your own stereotypes that okay, rock climbing is for a certain group of people, but when you see people, for example, the elderly or maybe people with possible disabilities trying to overcome their fear and then trying to step out of the comfort zone and try, that's really when you get inspired. So no excuses for us. Maybe one day we will try a very easy bouldering with Xin Yee soon.
I never tried it before because I play the piano. Then
actually I
musician.
know like someone
Musician, is it?
who is a pianist, and she climbs really well.
Wow, okay,
She's like
She has
really
nimble
strong.
fingers already to grab.
And I did ask her if like it will injure.
Affects.
Yeah, she said no, it doesn't.
It doesn't? Okay. So ending of this podcast, right? Because I think Xin Yee has to go and be at a certain place, right? Can we maybe just sum up and maybe talk about, let's say, two seemingly, I know that you have elaborated about rock climbing and plants as well, right? What seemingly unrelated events that you have learned the most when it comes to what you apply in work? Is there any other examples that strikes you that you think is worth sharing?
I think a quite basic one is like to keep practicing. I think that's
Practicing. So where do you get this concept of keep practicing from?
so this one actually is from like because I also play the piano.
Since when?
Yeah, I play the piano since secondary school. I mean I stopped already. I don't really play very often now, but one thing that, you know, like musicians always do, so it's like they always say like you have to keep practicing, right? You have to keep practicing to be better. Yeah, and I feel like this one, it applies to like everything in life. Like even what you said about drawing, you have to keep practicing to be better. It doesn't get better after one try. Yeah. After a few months try, you have to keep practicing and being good at it. And I think that applies to like everything else in life. You have to just keep doing it, even if it's hard, even if you feel like, like
Giving up.
you're not getting anywhere.
You don't get the results you desire.
Yeah, so like one thing I do is like, even if I feel like my work isn't great, I just like, just do it. Like, yeah, it's the motion, like to have to just keep doing and doing and doing, and eventually like you will get better. So maybe like so one thing I like to do is, like to look back and like see like maybe like for example, if I have like videos or photos of me climbing in the past, I'm like, oh, okay, no, I improved so much from the past and things like that. So it's like, it helps you, it motivates you, even when you feel like you're stuck, you just have to keep doing.
Repetition is mastery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I totally agree with Xin Yee on that point. Like it's so important to keep practicing, right? I would say that practice doesn't make it perfect immediately, but practice makes it better, so that you will realize that as compared to the past, you have actually grown a lot. Maybe for myself, I guess one area that I would share that's similar to my work and my life, right, is to always keep an open mind. To always keep an open mind in improving yourself, stepping out of your comfort zone. Then you will start to look back and realize that, hey, actually, if I didn't try that, I wouldn't have been where I am now, or I wouldn't have actually learned this area that I was not comfortable in. So for example, maybe at work, as you guys may know, I was not very good with statistics, right? From our business analytics class.
Chin Young was the carry.
Yes. We had like a friend that's super good that actually helped our group quite a bit.
And so they take advantage of our group mates.
Yeah, I guess it's not exactly advantage, but it's just to leverage on our strengths. Yeah. So I guess one thing to me is that I was in a way fearful of approaching Excel again, because it kind of haunts me and reminds me that on the statistics that I weren't good at. But imagine if I just continue to think that, because I do not like Excel and I do not open up in the future to learn more about it, to see how it's actually applicable to my line of work, then I would have not maybe be where I am now in being more proficient in analyzing data from Excel. So I would say that keeping an open mind, stepping out of your comfort zone, and keep telling yourself that 5 years ago, the you is different from the you now. So step up and then be more confident and be fearless and just try.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Like to keep note that the 5 years ago that you is like the you now is so much more than the you 5 years ago. And like I think that's very important to like keep reminding ourselves that we are good enough and all that. Yeah.
I think maybe one last question I have, right, would be for JJ. So you asked your interviewees what what final thing they want to share with the audience, right? But how about yourself?
I think like right now, because we have already started working, I think it's always healthy to manifest our interest in other areas, whether it's outside work. So I think like to all of us, right, we have our full-time jobs. We all have our own passions of creating plants, rock climbing, I've like doing this podcast or doing random things, right? I think there's always a healthy outlet, and life has not to... It isn't just about work, but it's just about doing things that you like doing. So, I mean, whether if you want to manifest your interest as a career, that might be another option that you want to look into. It is something that I'm looking towards as well. But right now, I'm just enjoying everything along the way. Yeah, so yeah, that's one thing. On the note of practicing, right, like, can I ask, people say, or at least one of my friends told me, right, practice makes perfect. But if you practice the wrong things, right, you master the wrong things. So have you guys, in any aspect, felt that you weren't practicing the right things in that sense? And just a very random question to end off the podcast. Practicing the wrong things and being involved in habits or activities that you wished you practiced in a correct manner, if that makes sense, or if that doesn't make sense.
I think this is a very good question. Like, for example, the tricky part is, how do you know you're practicing the wrong thing, right? Because if you're always practicing alone, and then
I think alone is the critical part.
Yeah.
When you're practicing alone, you don't know whether you're correct.
Correct. So that's the danger. How do you know that you're practicing the wrong thing and then the wrong thing becomes perfect? So the key thing over to that question, right, is also having a very strong support group, a strong group of people that would conscientiously give you constructive feedback so that you know whether you are on the right or wrong track. And then that is when you start to realize that, hey, actually I am steering off direction. And then that's when you fine-tune yourself, get back to the, orientate yourself to the correct way, and then practicing the correct things. So maybe the key point is to really have a strong feedback group so that they will tell you whether you are practicing the correct thing or the wrong thing. Because you need to be aware, right? If you are not even aware, how do you know you are practicing the wrong thing from the start? Yeah.
You agree. I have nothing to add on.
One last thing I want to add, right? Like every podcast, I always ask this question, right? Xin Yee, Leonard first, because I need to register. Leonard, what's the best advice have you ever received?
The best advice I've ever received. I guess I use it on my LinkedIn profile. That is failure and feedback, right? I just experiences to tell your older self that you have potential to go even more. That's just one feedback I would share. That is something that holds true to me. So that whatever failure that I've encountered now, people tell me whether I'm bad, I would just have the mentality to tell myself that these are just temporary. Then my older self will thank me for not stopping now.
And giving up.
Yes, and giving up. And be more resilient, be more determined.
Xin Yee, what's the best advice have you ever received?
Okay, so like I think it's especially in business school, it's very easy to get caught up in like a lot of peer pressure, like because everyone around you is like doing so well and everyone's like getting jobs everywhere and like starting work and like doing amazing things, and it's easy to get caught up with that. And I think for a few of the times like I was caught up with that and trying to find the best internship, and it's not bad to be pushed by other people, but it's important to also listen to yourself and prioritize yourself. And so for example, one like how I did that was I took the 6 months break before I started my full-time job, and I think that's very important to listen to yourself and amongst all the noise in the world, and to also prioritize yourself. Yeah, so that's the feedback I would.
No, I think that's very nice. But speaking from you had like the dream internships, like you went to Dubai all the way and participate in all these kind of competitions. I think is something that's really envious, like something that many students aspire to.
I mean, I feel like the grass is always greener for someone else. So I do feel like, maybe you feel that about me, but I feel like Leonard is like, I really feel like you are the model marketing student.
Wow,
I really feel that.
I feel that both of you guys are like the model.
And like I just feel like I'm very lucky also. As much as people would think that you have achieved that, but they do not see like the behind the scenes, like how much effort that goes behind applying, how much effort that goes behind preparing yourselves for the interviews. So like what Xin Yee mentioned is, you might always think that the grass is always greener on the other side. And in Chinese they always say, they all have this saying like 比上不足,比下有余, right?
I have no idea what that means.
So it means that if you were to compare above, you think you're not enough. However, if you compare below, you think you're enough. So just stop comparing and put the you in your own universe. And then that is when you will start to realize that I am not, my own self-worth, right, is not assigned by others. And then you will lead a more happy and contented life.
Yeah, I feel like that's very important, especially today. Like, there's a lot of issues going on. It's very important to prioritize yourself and prioritize your own mental health.
Okay, I guess on that note, it'll be a good way to end. And yeah, thanks so much for coming, man. I really appreciate you coming down and doing this kind of random stuff with me.
All right, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
we hope that this episode has, it's very exciting and something to learn
We
for your
talk
adv-
about a lot of random stuff like plants.
No, but I think it's true. Like podcasting, I feel like the best podcast, right? I just basically I really have no agenda.
Genuine and how we usually talk.
Yeah,
right?
just talk in general, like how we usually interact. So I don't want, one thing I learned about social media celebrities is they are not who they are offline and online. So that's one very important thing and something that I always strive away from. And hopefully just talk lah. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I guess that's it. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.